So give yourselves a woo. Woo! Oh, y'all are good. But you gotta get the hands going too. So okay, will you do it again? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Woo!
All right, good morning. Give yourselves a woo, like woo. Woo. There you go. So how are you, everybody? Good morning. So welcome, Grace and Chelsea and Debbie. This is fun. Start the new year with a panel, right? I did my double check and I thought, how many could I have on? I can have 10 on at a time. Now that would be pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to, nobody would have very long to talk, but it'd be kind of fun to try. So anybody listening out there, if you want to kind of be on one morning with me, with maybe some others, let me know and we'll see what we can do about that. It'd be kind of fun. Try a few little variations this year. So Grace, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about you. First of all, where do you live? You know, the basics, FYI stuff.
Well, thank you so much for having me and Happy New Year to everyone. I'm Grace Strawn and I live in Overland Park, Kansas. I'm a transplanted Canadian that moved here quite a few years ago. So I'm technically, I guess, an American, whatever. I am known as the Gratitude Whisperer. And I really believe that in life, we need to make gratitude a habit. And that's my goal, is to make gratitude a habit.
Yeah, and I love that. My sister picked the word gratitude for this year. And, I truly do believe everything comes from gratitude. The more blessings come, the Lord just brings down more when we're really grateful for what we have already. I think it makes such a huge difference. So I love that. Miss Chelsea, what about you? Tell us.
Yeah, well, I'm Chelsea and I am a homeschool mom of 3 kids. And I help women feel confident, feel good. And so my word for this year is very fitting and very appropriate for that. And really is kind of spurred from my word for last year. And as I was reflecting on that word, which was acceptance, realizing all of the things that I grew in that area and the things that I accepted that gave me a lot of strength to get through the last year. It brought me to the word healing. And, the last couple of years has been very, very stressful for our family. A lot of changes, a lot of difficult times, and a lot of memories surfaced that I had kind of blocked out. And so I believe that God is kind of getting this journey started with me of a process of healing. And it's both exciting and a little scary at the same time. As I'm sure all of you have experienced with healing, it's a painful process, but a very worthwhile process. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with us. We'll probably go into that a little bit more as we go through the show this morning. And Miss Debbie Miller, tell us about you.
Well, thank you for having me, Han. It's great to be here with these lovely ladies as well. I am Debbie Miller in Kansas City area, actually about, 40 minutes probably from Grace, though we've only seen each other a couple of times in our lifetime in the same spot in person. So that's been kind of crazy. I love the virtual things that we've been able to do, but when we're able to get together and have those hugs in person, that's been really special. And I guess my goal in life is to help people have peace of mind with their lives and for their family. And I do that through my business.
Cool. And so Debbie, you can go ahead while you're still speaking. Just tell us a little bit about your business. Like, do your 1 minute for your business.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I'm with Prepaid Legal Services, Inc., which is Legal Shield and ID Shield, bringing peace of mind to families and small businesses with access to law firms in their area at an affordable rate, being able to call up and say, hey, I don't know what this means. I need help. Help me with this contract. Oh, hey, I need a will, or I need a new will. And having our attorneys help them with any of those questions and many others.
Great, great. And of course, you know, I love your company. I am a member, and I've had numerous times to use it where it just came in so handy. So I'm like, yay. Awesome. Let's, Grace, let's go back to you real quick and do your woman. Tell everybody what you do.
Well, I represent a company called Promptings, and Promptings offers the mechanism to be able to act on a prompting. What a prompting is that inner voice. I call it a God tap. When somebody comes to your mind and you haven't thought about them in a while, that usually means that God is saying, hey, you either need to reach out to them or they need to hear from you. And I have the mechanism called Send Out Cards to be able to act on that prompting when it happens and be able to send them a tangible touch in the mail.
Love that. Love that. In a day when most things that you get in your mailbox are advertisements and little flyers and all, just so nice to get a card saying, hey, love you, thinking of you, whatever that might be. So what you're doing is such a great thing. I love it. I love it. And Chelsea, a lot of people might not know what the sister lifter means over there.
And great, I have received beautiful cards from Grace, by the way. It's a wonderful ministry that you do. So I help women break up with their bras and feel more comfortable and confident. I sell a shapewear camisole that lifts the girls, tucks your tummy, smooths and supports your back. And I have been doing that for over 3 years now. And it's just incredible to see women step in and be set free from the discomfort, the stabbing wires, the digging straps, the lack of support, and all of the other trauma that comes along with those long worn torture devices. So that's what I do.
Yes, yes. And she is so good at it. Your follow-up and stuff is great, Chelsea. Just thought I'd let you know about that. And the product also, it's very comfortable. So
excellent product. You don't feel good on a day, put on Chelsea's product and you feel like a new person.
Love these little ad testimonials, right? So for those of you out there, so good morning. I have one person that says Facebook user and says good morning, but I don't know who you are. So you have to give Facebook your permission to show your name. But you can tell me who you are. Miss Kathy Weaver, Happy New Year. And Tina, Happy New Year. Tina, are you out of the hospital or in the hospital? I know you've had so many health challenges. Are you home and doing better? Can you put me a little note up there? That'd be nice to know. So we're talking about this morning about word of intention. And I do this every year. So those of y'all have been around saying, oh, you might roll your eyes and say, oh, here we go again. And you're probably going to hear a lot of the same statements. But the thing, first of all, repetition is really good. And the world out there in marketing, and they say that you have to actually hear and be, it takes 7 times for something to become real. So those of us, when I was in Mary Kay, that was one of the things. You have the 7 touch points throughout the year, whatever that is, just so your customers or your family or your whoever it is can remember who you are and what you do. So it's the same thing when we're learning something. If you just read through a book and you like something, but you never go back to it or never repeat it, that's going to just fall out of your brain, And so it's important to remind ourselves. And that's why I think the word of intention every year is so important, because it helps you to focus. And many of us have given up the whole resolution things. They never really worked anyways. So I found for me, and I see y'all nodding, that having one word that you can really focus on, and maybe your word would be focus, clarity. There's so many, and I'll have each of the gals speak again about their word that they chose, but just throw some things out there for you. When your mind gets scattered and you're looking at all these different things, well, I need to improve I need to lose weight. I need to eat better. I need to be, do a devotional, read my scriptures more. When you start listing all those things that you want to improve or make a change in, that's a lot to concentrate on. But if you can find a word that basically feels that, I found so far, and maybe, there may be another way to look at that, but every word that I picked through the years has been important in all those areas of my life. The one that I toss out there every year is, it took me, the first year I did this, my word was release. And y'all, it took me 2 years of the same word, release, to get that straight, to release the things that I thought I had control of. I just thought, and I do have a little issues with that. They tell you that children of alcoholics have that kind of problem. We try to control because maybe we had no control in our lives growing up or something. So I don't know, but that's one of my issues, or has been. I'm getting better, it's growing. And I don't try for perfection, but I do try for excellence. I aim for excellence. I did give up. I released the thought of being perfect. That was a big one. And I released like I said, 2 years to release the thing that I thought I had control over my children and their decisions. Well, duh. I don't know if y'all have ever found that, but we just don't. Chelsea, right now, you're the only one who does still have, because your children are young. Our children are older. And as they get older, we realize how much lack of control we have. Would you agree? So anyway, so when you find that word, it really can set the tone for your whole year in all the areas of your life. So I'm going to just jump in with you, Grace. So tell us, you have 2 words, so you're still fluctuating. And why those 2 words?
Well, actually, my word is fulfillment.
Okay.
But I decided that it was going to be unstoppable fulfillment. So this is the year that I am going to fulfill my dreams, my life, and finish my book. There's a lot of things that I've had on a back burner. And I decided that last year my word was certainty. And I was being very certain about things that I did. And most people know that I actually broke my ankle and ended up, almost 15 weeks, almost out of any kind of contact with people. And that really helped me with my word, my certainty. I realized what that meant to me. God was saying, slow down, stop, breathe, take time. And so now I'm ready. Now this is the year to fulfill the things that I have put off. And 2024 is going to be an unstoppable year for me.
Yay, I love that. And that's such a great word. Both of them are great words. But as we were talking before the show, there are so many great words. You could probably just grab 5 or 6, but then that defeats the purpose. But it really, there's just so many great words that fit in there. So Debbie, how about you? There, almost.
Oh, there I am. Okay, so my word is intentional. And as I have been looking into it, I have found that one of the meanings or synonyms for it is premeditated. And, we've all heard of premeditated crimes, but I guess I hadn't ever thought about, good things that I premeditate. But of course we do. We took a trip this fall to visit family, and as Grace probably did as well for her trip, you have this list of things to pack, things to do before you and so that is premeditated, but I didn't actually think of it as that. But with the word intentional, I'm just trying to be more focused at paying attention to my premeditation, what I'm thinking of, those lists and things, especially with regards to how intentional God was with us, all the things that he, our whole life, he premeditated, he thought of us long before we ever knew to think about being alive. We were in his thoughts and plans. And so just to think about how special and fabulous that makes us each, and be intentional with my worship with him.
I love that. I think sometimes it's easy to just go with the flow and you just do something. And then when you're not being intentional, you can add more to your plate than what you really want to, or you find yourself saying yes to something that wasn't really in alignment with what your other priorities were. Not that it would be bad, but when you're intentional, it changes how you make your decisions in every area, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think that's great. That's great. How about you, Chelsea? Tell us a little bit more about choosing healing for this year.
Yeah, well, I wanted to point out an interesting trend that I just listening to the three of you that, God's timing, and we come to these words when He puts them in our minds and on our hearts. And I just find it remarkable because, we can set our own intention, right, and kind of strive, and it can be difficult, or we can kind of miss the mark. But when we come to it, because it's something that God is ready to work in us, it just makes all the difference, So, so that excites me about this particular word. And I had mentioned before that the word acceptance was my word for 2023. And one of the ways that it has led up to this word healing, and this is just one of many things over the last year. It would take me quite a while to lay it all out, but so I'll just pick one, and that would be my body, and accepting that this is where I'm at, this is the weight that I'm at right now, and that's okay. That my body has done very strong things. It has born 3 children. It has moved us into a new home. It has done a lot of things for me, and accepting that while I had to start completely over from square one and then some in my weight loss journey, it's fine. It's okay. And that has given way to some healing. And now I'm already starting the year at 20 pounds down. So, when you talked about release, and it just, all of the words, it's so amazing how they all kind of go together, and so I have a lot of other areas of healing that are, I believe that the Lord is really bringing to my attention. And I think Grace and Delinda, that I lost my brother in 2020. And that's obviously an ongoing healing process. But with that, grief has surfaced a lot of memories, a lot of questions, a lot of difficult things to face, and God says that I'm ready to face them. So those things have been resurfacing, and I mentioned earlier it's a little bit scary because those things are not easy to dig into. But He has strategically placed women around me with different tools and different guidance and wisdom that I believe is very purposeful, very intentional. And I'm excited to see, where I end up this time next year, and seeing, and, I love the reflection. I love January and just having the time to look back at the last year and see what God has done. And it's going to be just building into my testimony, and it's going to be amazing to see how God uses it, because I think that all of these things, every single thing that we all have shared, is something that God is building in us, not just for us, it's for the people around us. And so it's
Absolutely
a lot.
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Because, a lot of women deal with so many variety of things. And when you talk about weight loss, I'm going to throw something out. I heard a woman, it changed my total way of looking at weight. Now, that's been one of my issues. Y'all know that. I've talked about it for all these years I've been on. Sometimes I do better than others at eating healthy and all that stuff. But, when you think of losing something, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to go find it, right? So she said, stop saying you're losing pounds. You're going to lose weight. She said, release it. Just release it and let it be gone. And I thought that was amazing. That was part of mine also, Chelsea, back in my release days, part of that. And for most of us, there are things in our life that are those constant for lack of a better word, battles or issues that we have to keep dealing with. And sometimes we do better. Sometimes I think it has to do a lot with our walk with the Lord. You know, where are we in our walk with the Lord, and allowing him to take control of those things. But it's helpful when we can share that with each other. I mean, that's the whole point of us having the show on Tuesday mornings. The whole thing of why we do Fun Fearless together is so we can, you know, come together and share in the grief and the joys and the peace, or all of those different emotions and things that we encounter on a daily basis or weekly, however you want to look at that. I'm going to go over to our, excuse me, to our board over here, our chat box. So Kathy and Tina and Debbie, what is your word for the year? Have y'all picked your word? You can put it out there for us. That would be great. Up until about 30 minutes this morning, my word since last Sunday was going to be reboot. The pastor talked about it at the church I went to reboot. My year was a weird year. It was a good year. It wasn't a bad year. You know, we moved, we made lots of changes, all of those things. And I just, when he was talking about reboot, you know, look at your activities and different things, I thought that is a great word. I'm kind of in a good place to like reboot the computer, you know, that start over, kickstart. And then, and I'm not sure it was God. I mean, I know it was God because I'm not sure what, why otherwise I would think differently. But my favorite book in the Bible is Joshua. And I kept thinking, one of the things that I teach, you know, when I'm doing teaching things and when I'm mentoring and all, is really helping women gain confidence. And y'all, it takes boldness to do that. It takes boldness to step through those fears. We need to be bold. And so that is the word that I went back and I asked, you know, the person who knows everything, the phone, right? Google. How many times does God use the word bold in the book of Joshua? And according to this, it is 10 times. So it's pretty important. And it goes back and forth. Some translations, some translations say be bold and some say be strong. Well, I like bold better because strong, I don't know, for me, strong indicates something else. It takes strength to be bold, but to be bold doesn't mean that, see, how do I explain this? For me, be bold is just stepping up and don't question yours. Just do it anyway. If God tells you to do it, just be bold and do it. You don't have to question it. I don't have to try to control it. I don't have to do any of those other things that I'm likely to do. So I want to bring out God's best in me to be bold and in other women, because that's where God has placed me in ministry with other women and whatever the things that I do. So just helping women be bold to step out and take the world by the tail, so to speak, whatever that is where God's placed you, be bold. Since I said one word, I didn't do be bold, but really be bold goes with it there. So, and I'm going to, where are we? Oh, we're good. Okay. Let's see. Terry says, be where I'm standing, intentional. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So Terry has intentional hers. Kathy, I can't believe you picked that. I love that because you use that word a lot. And I even had thought about that, because just because something hasn't happened, just because your dream hasn't happened, just because your business goals haven't, it's just they haven't happened yet. Right, Kathy? I would guess that's where the direction that you're coming from. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. And and Debbie. So Debbie, I think it is that picked courage. So in this little commentary that when I looked this up, I thought this was great. And I think it goes all of your words. If you think about being bold in your fulfillment, being bold in your healing, allowing God to do that, being intentional. And it's been used in reference to Joshua. It was always together. Be bold and courageous. So like those words right there together. So be bold and courageous, not as a thing for fear, but in your faith. Be bold and courageous in our faith. And sometimes, y'all, right now in the world where we are, that's what we have to do, because the world doesn't want us to be. The world wants to make us fearful and wants us to cower. But when we're bold in our faith, God is going to clear the way. You know, He's already working. He's already working on what He has for you, which is why I love the book of Joshua. Every time they went into the the promised land wasn't one step. You know, those if you studied in there, the book of Joshua, when they're going into the promised land, they had to fight. They had to go in and listen and do exactly what God told them for each city or area, territory that they took over. And so we would always say, be bold and courageous. So that's stepping out, you know, on faith. So I love y'all's words that you picked out. They're so great for you. And it'll be fun next year. You're invited back and we'll see how did we do with our word of intention, right? So, oh, Kathy, great. Thank you. Any of y'all that might be watching the show later today or tomorrow, whenever you're watching, I would still love to know what your word is. And I might put a poll. Chelsea, we could do, because y'all know Chelsea is now helping a lot in the Fun Fearless group in the Vegas area. She and Terry are, leading out and keeping the lunches going in Las Vegas. And she and Terry have lots of ideas for me to do. So for them to grow, but some things for me. And I have to say, Chelsea, it kind of goes with my be bold. Listen, yeah. I kind of was sitting around a lot last year doing all the family stuff. So it's like time to
Belinda, Emma Lou is in the waiting room.
Oh, there she is. Has she been there very long? Did I miss it? There we go. Emma Lou had another conflict, didn't you?
I was actually able to join on time. I joined. The countdown was at 1 when I joined.
You've been in
I thought you knew I was here. I'm sorry.
I didn't see you. I'm sorry. Have you been there this whole time?
Yes, and your conversation has been amazing. I love it.
Well, then now that you're here, and I so apologize. Thank y'all for letting me know I did not see you in the waiting room. So tell us, you picked your word. Tell us a little bit about you and why you picked commitment.
Well, I'm a family relationship coach, and commitment is the word that comes to mind. A married couple that I greatly admire is John and Abigail Adams. And if you're familiar with the history of the United States, he was considered one of the founding fathers. And she isn't given as much attention, but she was the one who stayed on the farm, stayed home, ran the farm, raised the kids so he could be in the Continental Congress. And it wasn't easy. It was an uphill battle. He would get discouraged. They wrote letters during this time, which have thankfully been preserved. And they're very inspiring. And in one of those times when he was just ready to throw in the towel, quit, and go home, she reminded him of something he had said to her, that there are two groups of people who have that ability to change the world. The ones who have the commitment and the ones who expect that commitment of them. And if you think about every relationship we have in our lives, our relationship with God, our relationship with a spouse, relationship with children, with family members, there is that commitment that holds the relationship together. And it's an exchange. We commit to God. We promise, and he holds it. He expects it of us. And then he blesses us. And in any relationship, family, especially a family relationship, it's that commitment to each other, to the relationship, that makes it flourish. And so that's why I picked commitment.
I love it. That's a great word. Grace, we couldn't hear you. You're muted.
I was just going to say that was the perfect end to all of this.
It is. Because it does take commitment, right? To focus on all of these words, whatever the word is for the year. I see Barb Melton has tenacity, another great word, right? It takes tenacity to make it through in this world and to do the things that we're called to do. It really does. And Now let's see. Now, Emmylou, that's so funny. It's now, but you're here. I see you up here, but it's also still showing me you down in the bottom. Okay, that's why it happened. All right. Well, I love that. So, and Emmylou, tell them one more, just one more little thing about you and your business. So, kind of how do you do that? So, how do you help people and families? I mean, by
Well, I consider families to be the foundation of society. And if you want a healthier society, a better world, you need to strengthen the foundation. There are some who feel families are outdated. No, that's not true at all. They need to be strengthened. And so I am doing this through online courses, through coaching, and also sharing just tips and ideas on how families can improve communication, strengthen those relationships, manage their emotions. That's one of the big issues. I know as a young mother, I remember coming to the point where I just wished my emotions could be surgically removed because they just got in the way. But when you learn that emotions are powerful and they can actually help you reach your goals, you become unstoppable. So that's how I am making the world a better place, by strengthening families.
I love that. And we all know really that is part of what our world, for lack of a better way to place it or to say it, really does want to pull the families apart, because that is where our foundation is. That is where our strength is a society. When our families are strong, we are able to, well, it's just the foundation, like you said. I mean, you can't say it much better than that. Just as the foundation of our country. And as we strengthen the families, our country becomes stronger, and that's important too. It really is for our whole society. So I love that. Hey, Linda Parrish, good morning. And yours is focus. Excellent word. All these words are great, right? It's like, okay, let's just make a whole list of all the words that could be used to focus on for our words of attention. It's just great. All right. Well, we need to wrap it up. Grace, one last word or thought that you'd like to share before we go.
I just want to thank you for putting this together, because I think it just totally evolved. Maybe that should be somebody's word, but it evolved from, start to finish. And I think Emmylou's ending of commitment, because we all need to, yours is bold. We need bold to do our word for the year, but also we need to commit to the fact of making the word come true.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you, Grace. Debbie.
Well, definitely our commitment needs to be intentional and unstoppable and bold and lifting and healing. So it's a great way to conclude all of our words together and bring us together. Actually, we can all help each other through as we do our word planning for the whole year. It's been awesome. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you came. So fun. Chelsea, last word or thought from you.
Oh goodness. I'm just very grateful for the change from the New Year's resolution to words of intention, and I am seeing it in a lot of places. And it's so much more effective than a resolution that is so temporary feeling. So this has been a great discussion. I'm glad I got to be part of it.
Great. Thank you. And Emmylou, last thought. And again, I apologize. I didn't see you in the waiting room, but I'm so glad that you're here now.
Thanks for including me, Delinda. I love what you're doing, how you are, all of you ladies. I know all of you personally. I've interacted with you. I have great admiration for how you are also making the world a better place.
Oh, cool. And we have I want to thank all of our listeners or those of us watching today. We're just so glad that you have joined us. And whether you're live with us right this minute or you're watching later, really do appreciate you because, and I know you hear it 100 million times, but the truth is the most valuable thing any of us have is our time. And when you choose to spend your time with us on a Tuesday morning, it just blesses my heart so much. And I just appreciate and love you. So thank you. Great way for us to start 2024. We're going to be bold this year. I don't even know for sure what that means exactly, but whatever it is, we're going to do it with boldness. So I just like, okay, Lord, I'm ready. Let's step out. Be bold and courageous as you walk through. And remember, I can't release the choice. You know, I'm not ready to release that phrase just yet. So remember that life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. Choose your word, choose your intention, and choose the path that you want to walk this year in 2024, because I'm praying blessings galore in 2024. Bye now. Y'all have a wonderful week. Take care, and we will see you again soon. Take care now. Bye.